We'll now understand this another regulatory mechanism in tryptophan in this particular lecture. All right, so in tryptophan, the basic mechanism is this operon is regulated with the or by the interaction repressor protein and operator. This is the basic regulatory mechanism in majority of the operons. They are regulated by the interaction, specific interaction of the repressor protein, which is being coded by the regulatory gene and the operator region upstream the structural genes. So this is the basic mechanism that we understood yesterday. But what nature has done, nature has evolved specific additional mechanisms to tackle to a specific or given situation, specific situation. For example, we have seen in case of lycopyrrone, when glucose along with lactose appears into the medium, what happens? So we discussed, we studied what is called as catabolite repression. So these kinds of additional mechanisms have been evolved, to take care of specific situations. Under those situations, how the operon is going to be regulated. Okay, and all those mechanisms, additional mechanisms, are elegant. And they show how much homework nature has done, and how precisely nature has evolved these mechanisms. Right? Now, what is the rationale? In case of tryptophan, what is that additional mechanism I am talking about, and what is the rationale? So let me give you an example. For example, we have studied lycopyrrone. What happens in case of lycopyrrone? Induced level, let us understand. Take one example. Induced level, when the lycopyrrone is induced, what does it mean when lactose is present? No, if you want, we can put it in the bracket plus lac. Okay, let's say all those enzymes, those three enzymes, they are present in 5,000 copy number each. This is only an example, just for the sake of understanding. When the lycopyrrone is induced, and when does it get induced? It gets induced when lactose appears into the medium. Otherwise, there is no use, right? So it gets induced when lactose appears into the medium, and let us assume that the induced level of enzymes is something like 5,000 copies of each of those three enzymes. And when lactose is not there, we call it as a suppressed level. There are only five copies of each of those enzymes. So there is a 1,000-fold drop in the number of copies or the enzyme level, right? The synthesis of enzymes drops, and there are only 5 enzymes each of the lycopyrrone, right? You can understand it in another way also. The difference between when they're suppressed, it is 5, and when it gets induced, there is a 1,000-fold increase. Okay, in no time, 5,000 copies each of those enzymes are going to be synthesized. Okay, let us understand in case of tryptophan what happens. In case of tryptophan, the expressed level and expressed is when the tryptophan is not there. Let's say when tryptophan is not there, the tryptophan synthesizes. You have 5,000 copies each of those 5 polypeptides. Those 5 polypeptides, they make 3 enzymes, right? Please understand what I am saying. Expressed level, when tryptophan is not there, bacteria indulges in endogenous synthesis, the operon is expressed. This is the minus sign. Okay, when tryptophan is not there, the operon is expressed and it maintains, the bacterial cell maintains something like 5,000. Again, an arbitrary number, just for the sake of understanding, we have taken it. Expressed level is 5,000 copies of each of them, right? And when it gets suppressed, or you can say repressed, is suppressed or repressed level when tryptophan is present. You know, it maintains 70 copies of those polypeptides, 70 copies each of those polypeptides. Okay, so there is a difference of only, there is a 70-fold drop, approximately 70-fold drop, or from suppressed or repressed level to expressed level, there is a 70-fold increase in whatever way you want to understand, right? Here it is 1,000-fold. Here it is only 70-fold. Why so? What does it indicate? What do these numbers indicate? These numbers indicate that when tryptophan appears into the medium, tryptophan present situation, the repression is not as strong as in case of lac operon. The repression is not as strong as in case of lac operon. In lac operon, the repression is almost complete. Okay, it totally blocks the expression, totally blocks the transcription of those enzymes, and it comes down to only 5 copies each of those enzymes. There is a 1,000-fold drop. But in case of tripoperon, when tryptophan all of a sudden appears into the medium, there is only a 70-fold drop in the copy number of those enzymes, indicating what? Indicating that the level of repression in case of tripoperon is not as strong as we have seen in case of lac operon. Please try and understand कि हमने टैप नल चालू किया और नल को बंद किया. जब नल बंद कर रहे हैं उस समय हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशन ये है कि पानी का आना पूरा बंद हो जाना चाहिए. So that is what is happening in case of lac operon. There is no enzymes being, there is no gene being transcribed and there is no enzyme being synthesized. Almost totally off हो जाता है because only you have 5 copy number. But in case of tripoperon, when we close the tap, water is still trickling down. It's not completely off. Okay, that means some amount of transcription is still going on and some amount of enzyme synthesis is still going on, and therefore you are maintaining a higher copy number. And what is this higher copy number? Higher copy number, maintaining higher copy number of those enzymes which are involved in tryptophan synthesis in a situation where tryptophan is available in the medium is a sheer wastage of resources. It is a sheer wastage of resources, it is sheer wastage of time also, again efforts also. So what should be done? I hope unless you understand what I am talking here, you will not be able to understand how this is being worked out. Okay, so I've tried to give you an example and explain you what exactly is the need, what exactly is the rationale. So we'll draw the diagram and understand it once again. Okay, so let me draw the tripoperon for you. So this is tripoperon. You have promoter, you have operator, and as I said, you have a leader, and then there is an attenuator, and these are the structural genes here, E, D, C, B, and A, and there are 2 transcription termination signals, T1 and T2, right? And then some distance shown by this break, you have a tripar, and there is a promoter here. So what I'm talking about is tripar synthesizes a repressor protein. The active form is a tetramer, and when tryptophan comes, it undergoes a conformational change. Tryptophan is a co-repressor here, and it goes and binds to the operator. Okay, and since these two sites are overlapping, when operator is bound, when repressor protein is bound to operator, RNA polymerase cannot bind, and theoretically speaking, this transcription should not take place. But what I just explained you, that when tryptophan comes into the medium, the repression at this level is not strong enough. Okay, this binding of repressor protein to the operator is not that strong and strict as we have seen in case of lac-operon. What does it mean when it binds loosely? Some opportunistic RNA polymerase, they get a chance to bind to the promoter. When it is not bound, RNA polymerase can always bind here. And when that RNA polymerase binds, some amount of transcription takes place. And when transcription takes place, your messenger RNA synthesized, that messenger RNA gets translated into 5 polypeptides, making those 3 enzymes. Okay. I hope I am making things clear to you that the basic thing is that the repression at the level of operator in presence of tryptophan, in presence of tryptophan in tryptophan is not as strong as we have seen in case of lac-operon, resulting in maintenance of higher copy number of those enzymes required for tryptophan synthesis, which is nothing but a sheer wastage of a misuse of those very scanty resources of the bacteria. Okay, so how this particular problem is tackled? So that is what we would like to discuss in today's lecture. So how that is tackled, let us see this. Okay, so we'll now focus on this sequence, this leader sequence. So we'll focus on leader sequence. What was found out is that this leader, it codes for 162 nucleotide long, 162 nucleotide long leader RNA. This is the 5' end of the RNA, and there is a 3' end, and the total length is 162 nucleotide. Second thing is, what was found out is, and it was discovered by a scientist, a group of a group of people led by scientist Charles Janowski. A group of people led by this particular scientist, C. Janowski, they found out this particular mechanism. So 162 nucleotide long leader RNA, the beauty of this RNA, the characteristic feature of this RNA is that there are 4 internal complementary regions. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Total length is 162 nucleotide long, and there are 4 internal complementary regions. You understand what is meant by internal complementarity in RNA. That means region 1 has a sequence of nucleotide which is complementary to the sequence of nucleotide in region 2. Region 2 has a sequence of nucleotide which is complementary to a region of sequence, to a region where you have a sequence of nucleotide complementary to it. And in region 3, you have a sequence of nucleotide complementary to a sequence of nucleotide in region 4, depending upon the situation. For example, there are 2 possible scenarios. Region 1 can get a chance to pair with region 2, and region 3 therefore will get a chance to pair with region 4. This is region 1, this is region 2, this is region 3, and this is region 4. Okay, and whatever is looped out, whatever is non-complementary, they don't, nucleotides which don't have complementary bases, that particular region loops out. Second scenario is where you have this is region 1, this is region 2, this is region 3, and this is region 4. That region 1 for some reason is not available, therefore region 2, segment 2 has base paired with segment 3, okay, because there were complementary regions in both of them, and segment 4 therefore remains unpaired. So you have these two scenarios possible, depending upon the situation. Depending upon the situation, this leader RNA can assume any one of these two secondary structures. These are what? These are secondary structures. Secondary structures, right? Another important thing that before I actually come to the point, let us try and understand one more thing here. That this leader RNA, is coupled. It gets translated. So in prokaryotes, we have been discussing that in prokaryotes, the transcription and translation go hand in hand. So as soon as this leader RNA is synthesized, it undergoes translation also. What does it mean? It means that towards the 5' end, something like 20-25 nucleotides, it has got a initiation codon. There is an initiation codon. Okay, and this leader RNA codes for a 14 nucleotide, 14 amino acid long leader peptide. So codon number 15 somewhere here is a stop codon. Okay, this is an initiation codon and this is a stop codon. Okay, means the first amino acid is going to be methionine, and what was found out is that codon number 10 somewhere here at the junction of segment 1 and segment 2, and codon number 11 which is in the segment 2. These two codons, this is 10 and this is 11, and then 12, 13, 14, and then this is 15 stop codon. 10 and 11 number of codon, they are for tryptophan, amino acid tryptophan. They code for amino acid tryptophan. All right, you must understand what I'm saying this. Okay. This 162 nucleotide long leader RNA, there are 4 segments which show internal complementarity, and depending upon the situation, they can assume 2 types of secondary structure that I explained you. Now this 162 nucleotide long leader RNA gets translated and it synthesizes a 14 amino acid long leader peptide. What does it indicate? It has got its own initiation signal. There is an AUG codon around 20 to 25 nucleotides away from the 5' end, and then 15 number of codon, okay, is a stop codon UAA, UGA, or UAG. Any one of the 3 can be present over there. What is important is codon number 10 and 11, the location, approximate location I have shown over here. Codon number 10 is located very close to the junction of segment 1 with the segment 2. And these are arbitrary junctions that we have made for our understanding. And 11 is very much in the segment 2. These two codons, 10 and 11, they code for amino acid tryptophan. Right? So if you have understood this, we can proceed further. So what happens? Okay, so let us assume a situation where tryptophan is not there. Tryptophan is not there. And what do you expect? You expect when tryptophan is not there, you expect the RNA polymerase to transcribe all the structural genes. When tryptophan is not there, bacteria will synthesize its own tryptophan, and therefore RNA polymerase should bind here and should transcribe the whole thing. Okay, so RNA polymerase binds here. किसी का ऑडियो चालू है? When tryptophan is not there, so RNA polymerase will bind, the one in blue, and will transcribe all these genes. It will transcribe even leader also. I mean, you will get this 162 nucleotide long leader RNA also, and then it will get into the structural region and it will transcribe all the genes. Okay. So when tryptophan is not there, leader RNA is synthesized and it starts getting translated also. And you have this kind of a situation. I am drawing the leader RNA. This is segment 1. And RNA polymerase, I mean ribosome, they got stuck over here in segment 1. It has already synthesized some 8 amino acid long polypeptide. Okay, this is polypeptide. Because translation starts immediately after the transcription. Okay, so 8-9 amino acid long polypeptide has also been synthesized, and ribosome is now stuck here. This is codon number 10, and this is codon number 11 in the segment 2. This is 10 and this is 11. Ribosome is stuck over here because we are talking about a situation where tryptophan is not there. And this codon is for tryptophan. What is expected is an amino acid tRNA will bring in tryptophan here, but tryptophan is not there. So ribosome is stalled here. Ribosome is waiting here for what? Ribosome is waiting here for amino acid tRNA to bring in a tryptophan, and which is not there. So ribosome stalls here. Segment 2 gets an opportunity to pair with segment 3, and segment 4, it remains unpaired. Segment 1, you have the ribosome and you have a partly synthesized leader peptide. About 9 amino acids have been added. Amino acid number 10 is tryptophan, and ribosome is waiting for amino acid tRNA to bring in tryptophan. So it stops over here. Segment 2 gets an opportunity to pair with 3. Segment 4 therefore remains unpaired. Right? Now, when tryptophan appears into the medium, when tryptophan present, when you have this situation, what happens? When tryptophan is there, so you have, say, this is segment 1, ribosome is here. Ribosome is here, and it has almost completely synthesized the leader peptide. This is leader peptide. Right? Ribosome has not stopped at 10 and 11 because tryptophan is present. We are talking of a situation where tryptophan is present. So ribosome doesn't stop at codon number 10, codon number 11. It get past segment 1, gets into segment 2, 11, 12, 13, 14. And at 15 number, this is stop codon. So it completes the synthesis of leader peptide. So ribosome comes into segment 2. So since ribosome is there in segment 2 is not available to pair with 3. Therefore, segment 3 pairs with segment 4. Segment 3 pairs with segment 4. And this is what is called as a classical GC rich hairpin, followed by these are U residues, followed by poly U. It's a classical, this particular situation is a classical row independent termination signal. So RNA polymerase, which is set off from this promoter, okay, when tryptophan is present and when the bacterial cell doesn't want, you know, transcription of these structural genes, this RNA polymerase, it is an opportunistic RNA polymerase. Because the repression is not strict, is not very strong at the operator, this RNA polymerase binds to the promoter, starts from here, okay, synthesizes leader RNA. That leader RNA starts getting translated also. But this RNA assumes a conformation which provides a classical row independent termination signal. So RNA polymerase will be pulled out here. RNA polymerase will be pulled out here. RNA polymerase will be pulled out here. Means it will not get into the structural regions. It will pulled out. The one which has started from this place will be pulled out here, somewhere here. Okay, it will not get into the structural regions. Structural region. So this kind of regulation, which is facilitated by secondary structure of RNA, is called as attenuation control. This is called as attenuation control. Attenuation control. Okay. And what scientists have observed later on, that the operon loses this additional control when you delete this sequence. And this sequence is deleted, leader and attenuator sequences are deleted. Okay, this kind of regulation, the operon is not subjected to this kind of regulation. That means the difference between the repressed level of enzymes and the expressed level of enzyme, narrows down. There's only a 70-fold increase or 70-fold drop. But when you have this kind of a regulation on, the difference between the expressed level of enzyme and repressed level of enzyme becomes big. It is similar to that of lac operon. We have discussed in the first slide. So this kind of control, additional control, is called as attenuation control. And what people have found out, this is a very interesting example. If you want, I can repeat it quickly once again, that when tryptophan is absent, okay, RNA polymerase, which by accident, because of an opportunity has bound to the promoter, starts transcribing the leader. That leader starts get translating. Ribosome will be translating. So they translate about 9 codons. Codon number 10 is for tryptophan. Tryptophan is not there. We are talking about tryptophan, not that situation. It remains bound here. It remains waiting over there. 2 and 3 gets an opportunity. 4 remains unpaired. When tryptophan is present, RNA polymerase will bind over here. Will be transcribing leader. Leader will get started translating also. Okay, so ribosome will translate. They will not stop at codon number 10 and 11 because tryptophan is present situation. So they get into the segment 2. Segment 3 therefore gets an opportunity to pair with 4. And this becomes a classical row independent termination signal. Hairpin followed by runoff value. So RNA polymerase is started from promoter, is pulled out at attenuative site, and therefore this type of mechanism is called as attenuation control, right? So this is an elegant mechanism, and what later on it was found out that this is not specific to tripoperon. This is not specific to tripaparon alone. But this type of regulation is also found in many other amino acid biosynthesis operon. For example, please understand that this is not unique to tripaparon, this kind of mechanism, but you have this kind of mechanism present in other amino acid biosynthetic operons also. For example, his operon. His operon means this is an operon where you have structural gene, regulatory gene, and control element, and all of them are making enzymes for the synthesis of amino acid histidine. Amino acid histidine is again a essential amino acid. Okay, so in the leader, it also has got a leader sequence, and it also has a leader peptide synthesized, the length of which is around 16 amino acid long. Leader peptide is synthesized here. And this, out of this 16 amino acid, there are 7 consecutive histidine codon. 7 consecutive codons for histidine. Okay, so in this leader peptide, you have 7 consecutive histidine residues coded by 7 consecutive codons of histidine in the leader RNA. Okay, so you can understand if an histidine is not there, okay, ribosome will stall in any one of those codons, and as a result of that, it will be generating. It will not be generating a classical row-independent termination signal, and RNA polymerase will, get into the structural regions easily. In case of histidine operon, I am saying. Okay, the model remains the same. You have the same kind of things repeating. There, in case of tripaparon, we have seen only 2 codons for tryptophan. In case of histidine, we are seeing there are 7 consecutive codons for histidine. Similarly, phenylalanine codon, phenylalanine operon, it has a 15 amino acid long leader peptide. And of this 15 amino acid, 7 amino acids are phenylalanine. That means the leader RNA has as many as 7 codons for phenylalanine. The difference between this and histidine is, whereas in case of histidine, those codons were consecutive, one after the other. In case of phenylalanine, not all 7 of them are one after the other. They are scattered in that, you have 2, 3 together, then there is some space, some other amino acid, and another 2, 3. So that is how, in case of phenylalanine also, you have the same kind of motif getting repeated. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that this kind of mechanism is not unique to tripaparon. You will find this mechanism in many other amino acid biosynthetic operons. So the meeting will end anytime now. Thank you very much for attending this lecture.